Have you ever asked your partner, sat down with your husband, wife, partner, and asked, why do you love me? I know I have. And what I'm asking is, well, what do you admire about me? Is there what attracted you to me in the first place? And I can give lists and a reason what attracted me in the first place to my partner. And but I want to talk about unconditional love because we think, what do you love about me? That's what do you admire about me? But is it what do you love about me? What is that? What does that really mean? Because we could go down a rabbit trail of what conditions are is do my love have? Because maybe one of the things is that your partner thinks you're beautiful, and that's great. But what about when you're not beautiful? Or maybe there's an inner beauty that just never changes. But what is that? And hopefully that's the case, right? But what if that these things do get locked into a thing that can change? Then will your love change? So this is an interesting topic for me. And I've been sitting with this thinking about it. And I'm like, So I don't want to get in the weeds because there's situations where people change, they fall in love with them, and then they change, and you're like, whoa, toxic. So I'm not wanting to get in the weeds there, but I do want to discuss, and I would love to hear what your comments, what you think about the unconditional love that we have for somebody and the unconditional love that we can have for ourselves. So if I have conditions on my love for somebody, if they don't meet those, I'm like, well, scratched, that's too bad for you. And what about if we do that for ourselves? It's like, what do you love about yourself? Do you have an unconditional love for yourself where you go, okay, I am not perfect. I'm going to have these days that I don't meet up to what I want to be or what I picture or what I have decided is acceptable even. Will I love myself at in all levels of who I am? And that for me has been the work of the last month. It has been taking another dive into that. What what does unconditional love look like when I'm looking in the mirror? And can I let me back off of that. Can I There was an interview, and I don't even remember the gal speaking, who it was. It was Oprah was interviewing her, but I don't recall the gal was speaking. I don't recall her name. But the piece that stuck with me was was talking about if you accept everything about yourself, then whatever people come at you, if they're like, oh, remember, when you did this, remember what, wow, whatever that is, you were this or you were that. And you're like, yeah, I was. And there's no personal guilt around it. It's just, I had that. It was part of my journey. It takes the sting out of it when that gets laid or they try to lay that against you or on you or guilt you or shame you. And this guy was just like, yeah, matter of fact, beat him to it. I did this, this, and this. It's part of my journey. And there's no excuses. There's no guilt. There's no shame around it. It's just, this was part of my journey. And I feel like when I'm looking at all the different parts, and we all have them, some were like, man, I was the champion. And then other times you feel like, man, I really dropped the ball in different ways. And can we, or really, it was just about me taking a look at loving and unconditionally. There's no conditions when you do this right or when you're amazing. Janelle, I can accept you. No, it's accepted through all the pieces and times that I have existed. I accept this. And I don't know about you, but that's taken some work. That has taken some transmuting and just allowing love to flow into every crack and closet of my heart space. we've been called in this new energy space that the earth shifted into in this spring. We've been called to move from our heart. And to move from our heart, there has to be a healing of any guilt, shame, elements, any pieces where we have just said, no, I don't, that's not me. And they can really be subtle, and we can create these personas to shield behind without even realizing we're behind a persona. But personas are there to protect us. I built several during my growing up years to protect me from being judged by others. So when I started to heal and grow, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a persona. That's not really me. I couldn't make mistakes. Looking like a person that made mistakes was just not acceptable. So I had these personas up. So when people saw me, oh my gosh, you're so confident and you're so this and so that. And in a lot of ways, yeah, I am. But they were seeing a persona I was standing behind because I didn't feel successful in many areas of my life. So self-healing and looking and bringing light into all the rooms and closets and cracks and crannies of the heart space to bring love and acceptance of every piece and every part of the journey is what allows us the it'll just open that door. It's not even like you have to work at it so much anymore. It's like you just connect to who you are when you do that, and then living that in that authentic space, then making decisions and being in your heart space and moving forward. Like people ask me often, well, how do you get in your heart space? How do you? It's by unconditionally accepting and loving who you are. So taking that unconditional love idea with those that are around us, are we looking at them through a lens of conditions, slippery slope? And often if we're doing that to others, but we are doing it to ourselves. And how do you operate in a space, a heart space, if you're living in that conditional love for yourself? Well, you can't. You just can't. So, or at least not to the degree that you're able to. So, taking that look at, well, what's that costing me when I'm not working in my heart space? What does it cost you? What did it cost me? It cost me forms of happiness. I could grab a hold of the happiness that I always look for I was always optimistic. I was like, oh yeah, I'm happy. But there would be a level where I just really wasn't satisfied because I knew this didn't align with me. And the people that I associate, I could say, yep, we agree on this and we can focus on that. And that's a good principle. But where's my tribe? And being brave enough to shift away from those that were judgmental and not in my tribe, and into a group of people that are my tribe, and knowing where that came from my heart space. So, and business, where do I go? What kind of work do I do that just feeds my soul? That comes from your heart space. So where is it? It's when you connect to who you are at this deep level, and you love that person unconditionally, then heart work just comes because you vibrate that authentic rhythm. You are who you are, and you attract it and you align to it. So it finds you and you find it, and there's not the big question marks. The personas that you built that were designed to protect you, so no guilt, no shame. They were there for a reason, so we thank them, thank you. But they're ready to go, and you don't need them when you're and working from your heart space. You just don't need them anymore. So they get to step aside, and now the freedom, because you don't have to wonder and protect and stay behind those persona shields. You just get to go forward and be. And there is a moment of that feels really vulnerable. I've noticed that myself. I felt really vulnerable. And then you take a look at that vulnerability and you love it. And you go, that's me too. I'm vulnerable. and I feel afraid. Okay, awesome. I'm excited about that. I'm angry about that. It's all you. And can you accept every piece? Absolutely, you can. And there's some serious power and empowerment when we love ourselves at that level and move and work at that level, whatever that looks like for you. If you're a parent, if you're have a profession outside of the home, if you're a business builder, what do you do? Bringing that next level you to the table just enhances, accelerates everything that you do. It expands what you do, which is awesome, and everyone around you feels that vibration change as well. So you're raising the vibration of yourself, you're raising the vibration of your household, you're raising the vibration of your workspace. um, when you take that deep dive into the heart and go, I am going to accept every piece of me. So enjoy the journey. Let me know how it is, how loving yourself unconditionally, loving people around you unconditionally looks to you, and any thoughts that you've personally had. Love to hear them. Okay.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on this video. Share your comments below.